Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Gopijana Vallabha Giri Varadhari Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yasodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Gidari Radha Gidari Radhe Jaya Radha Gidari Radha Gidari Radhe Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki Jam Vishpad Paramahamsa Pravijikacharya Shotar Satashi Srimadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki ISKCON BBT founder Acharya Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shishi Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastai Balai Shimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste. Shish Shadistani. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The mantra Narada Muni gave to Dhruva Maharaj to chant. 6 months he got to have darshan of the Lord. So we're getting here from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 9th chapter, 18th verse. 17th, 18th, 18th. Maitreya vacha atabhishtuta evam vai satsankalpena dhimata Prityanurakto Bhagavan Pratinandedham Abravit. Maitreya Vacha Atabhishtuta Evam Vai Satsankalpena Dhimata Prityanurakto Bhagavan Pratinandedham Abravit. Maitreya Vacha Atabhishtuta Evam Vai Satsankalpena Dhimata Prityanurakto Bhagavan Pratinandedham Abravit. Maitreya Vacha Atabhishtuta Evam Vai
Satsankalpena Dhimata Prityanurakto Bhagavan Pratinandedham Abravit.
Maitreya Vacha
Atabhishtuta Evam Vai Satsankalpena Dhimata Prityanurakto Bhagavan Pratinandedham Abravit. Maitreya Vacha Atabhishtuta Evam Vai Satsankalpena Dhimata Prityanurakto Bhagavan Pratinandedham Abravit. Maitreya Vacha Atabhishtuta Evam Vai Satsankalpena Dhimata Prityanurakto Bhagavan Pratinandedham Abravit.
Maitreya Vacha Atabhishtuta Evam Vai Satsankalpena Dhimata Prityanurakto Bhagavan Pratinandedham Abravit. Maitreya Vacha Maitreya said Ata then Abhishtuta being worshipped Evam thus Vai certainly Satsankalpena by Dhruva Maharaj, who had only good desires in his heart. Dhimata, because he was very intelligent. Britya Anurakta, very favorably disposed towards devotees. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Pratinandya, having congratulated him, idam, this, abravit, said. Translation. The great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, when Dhruva Maharaj, who had good intentions in his heart, finished his prayer, the Supreme Lord, the Personality of Godhead, who was very kind to his devotees and servants, congratulated him, speaking as follows. Shri Bhagavan Vacha, Vedaham te vivastitam ridi ranjanya balaka tat pratyachami badram te durapam api suvrata. So there was no purport there. So these are the words of the Supreme Lord. Shri Bhagavan Vacha, the Personality of Godhead said, Veda, no, aham, I, te, your, vivastitam, determination, ridi, within the heart, rajanya bhalaka, O son of the king, tat, that, pratyachami, I shall give you, badram, all good fortune, te, unto you, durapam, although it's very difficult to obtain, api, in spite of suvrata, one who has taken a pious vow.
one who has taken a pious vow.
The personality of Godhead said, my dear Dhruva, son of the king, you've executed pious vows, and I know the desire within your heart. Although your desire is very ambitious and very difficult to fulfill, I shall favor you with its fulfillment. All good fortune unto you. Please repeat. Personality of Godhead said,
Personality of Godhead said,
my dear Dhruva,
my dear Dhruva,
son of the king,
son of the king,
you've executed pious vows,
you've executed pious vows,
and I also know the desire within your heart.
desire within your heart.
Although your desire is very ambitious
Although your desire is very ambitious
and very difficult to fulfill,
and very difficult to fulfill,
I shall favor you with its fulfillment.
I shall favor you with its fulfillment.
All good fortune unto you.
All good fortune unto you.
Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The Lord is so merciful to His devotee that He immediately said to Dhruva Maharaj, let there be all good fortune for you. The fact is that Dhruva Maharaj was very much afraid in his mind, for he had aspired after material benefit in discharging his devotional service, and that was hampering him from reaching the stage of love of God. In Bhagavad Gita 2:44 it is said, Bhogaishvarya prasaktanam, those who are addicted to material pleasure cannot be attracted to devotional service. It was true that at heart, Dhruva Maharaj wanted a kingdom that would be far better than Brahmaloka. This was a natural desire for a Kshatriya. He was only 5 years old, and in his childish way, he desired to have a kingdom far greater than his fathers, grandfathers, or great-grandfathers. His father, Uttanapada, was the son of Manu, and Manu was the son of Lord Brahma. Dhruva wanted to excel all these great family members. The Lord knew Dhruva Maharaj's childish ambition, but how was it possible to offer Dhruva a position more exalted than Lord Brahma's? The Lord assured Dhruva Maharaj that Dhruva would not be bereft of the Lord's love. He encouraged Dhruva not to be worried that he childishly had material desires and at the same time had the pure aspiration to be a great devotee. Generally, the Lord does not award a pure devotee material opulence, even though he may desire it. But Dhruva Maharaj's case was different. The Lord knew that he was such a great devotee that in spite of having material opulence, he would never be deviated from love of God. This example illustrates that a highly qualified devotee can have the facility of material enjoyment and at the same time execute love of God. This, however, was a special case for Dhruva Maharaj. If we could prayerfully recite our mantras. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Salakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadandikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shiyuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shiva Shakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Chakapa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. I'm grateful to Balaram Prabhu for letting me have this service. You hear from the Bhagavatam and it purifies the heart. You study the Bhagavatam, it goes even deeper. And then you repeat that message, you have the opportunity of making some advancement by the mercy of Krishna and Guru and Bhagavatam. So I ask for your kindness and hoping that I can do some service and that you'll be pleased. A note on our discussion this morning in the announcements. Bhadrinarayan Swami said, I never heard Srila Prabhupada say when the break fast time was. How important can it be? And then we hear the break fast time is a little inconvenient for some. 10:06 to 10:15, something like that. 10:03. But who's looking? And it brought to mind an instruction of Srila Prabhupada's, wherein he, in the very beginning, told you, I've hardly given you anything. If I gave you everything, it would completely discourage you and you would leave. And another time, speaking to a disciple who was asking if he could increase his austerity in eating, eat a particular diet and a little less, and Prabhupada said, yes, that's good. If you can increase, that's good. But if not, the instructions are there. You follow like all the other devotees. So anytime someone quotes from Srila Prabhupada, an instruction of Srila Prabhupada, how can you disagree with them? It stands. It's eternal. It has value. And yet, the instructions of the spiritual master, Jamal Prabhu and I were speaking the other day, and you can't simply read Srila Prabhupada's books and understand his instructions. You have to understand how Srila Prabhupada applied those same instructions that he received from his spiritual master. So we hear about the life of the spiritual master, and we hear the instructions that he gave us. If we can combine the two, understand they're a complete picture, then we have some hope of having the relevant service to be revealed within. So if that breaking of fast, some of you it doesn't even pertain because hopefully you'll be fasting today, and Mahabharata has made it very easy because he's going to have an Ekadashi breakfast. How merciful are the devotees. So it doesn't even pertain this 13-minute window of breaking the fast according to the rigid rules. But I know without question that Srila Prabhupada, even in terms of following Ekadashi, if it disrupted, disturbed, or it made it difficult to do your service, then he wasn't into it. The most important thing is serving Krishna, serving Guru, and serving the Vaishnavas. That's the most important thing. And I want to keep on a track, but I'll throw in a one-liner to support this statement. Dhruva Maharaj was what a desire. He had a materially impossible desire that could be fulfilled. It was impossible to fulfill, materially speaking. It is the material desires that keeps one from becoming attracted to, what to speak of, attached to the service of the Lord. And the verse was quoted, Bhogaishvara Prasakthanam. But the Lord didn't look at his desire, not as the highest priority, that's the most important thing. He saw the service that Dhruva Maharaj rendered. And despite what impure desire was there, what contamination was there, it didn't matter. The Lord accepted his service, was pleased with his service, so much so he gave him his full blessings. Bhadram te. Anytime we hear that phrase in the verses, boy, perk your ears up because the blessings are raining down. The Lord's saying, all blessings unto you, all good fortune. And what is that good fortune? It's love of God. That's the mercy that is awaiting us if we will engage in the devotional service of the Lord. So to stick to the point, If you have services that will be distracted, disturbed, or unable to perform because you wait that long, then don't wait that long. Break the fast. You'll have to find some other grains. It's easy to find grains in the walk-in or whatever. Break the fast like we normally would. And if you're able, services are not disturbed, then wait. What's the problem? And one of these verses, the Lord glorifies. The second verse that we read. Verse 19, he says, you have executed pious vows. Those vows are the services that we render based upon the instructions we've received. And not to beat a dead horse, but following Ekadashi is in the top 10 principles, most important principles in Krishna consciousness given by Rupa Goswami. Dravida Prabhu yesterday mentioned the first 3, if I'm not mistaken. Padashrayam was the first one, which means... No, he didn't hear you. Sanskrit was Guru Pada. Guru. Vashriyam. Okay. Ashriyam. Yeah, take shelter of a spiritual master. Now I'm coming from memory, so forgive me or help me if I don't get them exactly right. But you take shelter of a spiritual master. That's the most important principle. To achieve love of God, to be given the opportunity of devotion. Second principle, you take initiation from him and instruction from him. Third one was follow those instructions, serve the spiritual master. And of course, when we say spiritual master, he means devotees, Krishna. It's one complete package. It's an absolute package. Fourth, follow those instructions, render that service according to the example set by the previous acharyas. Sometimes we don't click in on the relevance and the relationship we have with our previous acharyas. Dravida, he can share with you most likely. I certainly will share from personal experience. I know it's this for many devotees, Prabhupada disciples. When Srila Prabhupada said Bhakti Siddhanta is more inclined, more merciful than even the Father, oh my God, how can you not want to grab hold of his feet and please him? In the same way, the second generation, disciples of Srila Prabhupada, how can you not want to be so solidly connected to your grandfather who is so much more merciful than your father? It's the principle. So that's the fourth principle. Follow according to the example set by the previous acharyas. Fifth one, I'm kind of like forgetting what... Oh yeah, if you don't understand something, then ask questions for clarification. We don't want blind followers. If a question is there, you ask. And if you don't get an answer, put it in the back shelf, because I guarantee you, sooner or later, it's going to come up and go, oh, that's what it is. Just like a little tiny footnote. Freudian slip. Dravida Prabhu, he mentioned, and I think that this pole star, Dhruvaloka, is where the ocean of milk is situated. Lord Vishnu lying on his bed, Anantasesha. And Lord Brahma approaches, like when, Krishna's, the demoniac forces had increased unlimitedly upon the earth, so overburdened, and demigods and Brahma approached the shore of the milk ocean. They couldn't go on the island. They couldn't get direct access, no trespassing. The visa, the qualification wasn't there. And they prayed for the Lord's mercy, please descend, and Krishna heard, and he reciprocated. So Srila Prabhupada confirms in the affirmative, I think it is the same. In a few purports onwards, he says, yes, this is where that is. You want to hear something interesting? Yeah. In the Laghu Bhagavatamrita, there's evidence given that simultaneously that the Shweta-dweep, the island in the ocean of the mercy, is in an ocean of milk which surrounds Meru on the eastern side. And to mix it up a little bit more, another scripture says, and Rupa Goswami is quoting all scripture, that the island where the Lord lays on his bed, this Shweta-dweep is its name, is in the ocean of pure water, not on the eastern side of Meru, but on the northern side of Meru. And so how do you, and we've got three different things. So is one wrong, two wrong, But whenever you run across these things, you have to understand, practically without exception, certainly without exception, if these acharyas are saying it, these are lovers of God, these are pure representatives of the Lord. To say guru, they are guru tattva, they are speaking on behalf of the Lord. They speak no falsehood, it's simply the transcendental sound vibration. And in the purport, and the Laghu Bhagavatam reads about, is it the North Shore and pure water? Or is it the milk ocean on the east shore of Mount Meru? What is it? He says, in different days of Lord Brahma, as he manifests the universe, he sometimes mixes it up. So it's like this spiritual planet, a Vaikuntha planet of the Lord, well, I think it's going over here now. It's like, so my thought on that is the Lord and his energies, this universe, etc., is so complex. Oh my gosh, it's really inconceivable for us tiny little jivas. But the scripture gives us some understanding. The spiritual masters can give us the key to unlocking the understanding. They give us the revelation if we are pleased, if they are pleased, rather, with our service. That's the key, one service. And if they are pleased by our service, just like Narada Muni, he was so pleased with Dhruva when he met him in the forest. Right then and there, he was ready and willing to give him love of God. Prabhupada states like that. He was so Dhruva got the touch of the conch shell by the Lord. When Narada Muni first met him, he put his lotus hand on his head. And Dhruva Maharaj was blessed from the get-go. And I'm going to follow this thread, although it's not the way I had intended. But we will hear very shortly that Dhruva Maharaj, even in this purport, he was in anxiety. Because now he's facing the person whom he had been worshiping. And the Lord knows, I was approaching you like a thief, like a beggar. I just wanted to take from you. That's not our identity. We're servants of the Lord. We're meant simply to give. We're simply meant to be satisfied with whatever the Lord shares with us, whatever he gives. Like a child, in the protection and the shelter of their parent, or the calf with the cow, mother cow. Completely satisfied, completely dependent, no worries, nothing. And we serve in that mood. But he knew I hadn't done like that. So he was in great anxiety. So my point was going to be that, how is it? Okay, Narada Muni was going to give him love of Godhead at that very moment, but Srila Prabhupada in the purport says that's not really the business of the spiritual master. He's meant to train and show the sincerity of purpose of the disciple. He gives us the science of devotional services. And if we will become determined, following in the footsteps of Dhruva, any and all of us who want to get what we aspire for, we have to show our seriousness, our sincerity. And if we develop this one-focused, one-pointed determination, then the spiritual master will reveal that which we hanker. He will bless us with what we wish, which is more service, pure service, and that culminates in the fruit of love of God. And when he has this love of God, he's got love of God. He's now standing in front of Vishnu. But he's like, we take to Krishna consciousness in the beginning because we hear, it's simply bliss. When I was joining, it was like, stay high forever. Well, I could relate with that. Such a bummer to come down. Or sometimes I have a bad trip or a bummer. Sign me up. I want to be happy, high all the time. Well, he's achieved that which, you're promised when you come to Krishna consciousness. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. But he's not apparently happy. He's in anxiety. What is this? It's a very important lesson to be understood that in Krishna consciousness, it's about first and foremost, the feelings of Krishna and our Prabhus, our spiritual masters, etc. Their happiness is our goal. And the aspiration is to be in the relationship of love. And love is not just a one ever-increasing trajectory, like on a chart, where they say, oh, buy this stock. Look, Apple went from here to here. But no, in love, it's like the path of a snake. That's an example given by Krishnadas Kaviraj, quoting Rupa Goswami, if I'm not mistaken. That the loving affairs of Radha and Krishna, they're like a snake. Have you ever seen a snake crawl along in the ground or grass? It's like their body. It's funny. Back and forth, back and forth. It's like that in love. It's waves. Sometimes exhilarated, sometimes extremely despondent. But it's all based in the love for Krishna and vice versa. So the devotee he's simply wanting to see Krishna's happy. His own personal happy. The gopis are the highest, best example. If I have to go to hell by giving dust to the lotus feet from our feet on the head of Krishna to cure his headache, no problem. You want to go to hell? You want to suffer in hell? For the pure devotee, they don't care, because they're not attached like we are to the perception of it's about me. I'm happy, or I don't like this. No, that's getting on in the higher principles, like 6. Any material, anything this is a different phrase, but it applies to what's being talked of. If something is beneficial in Krishna consciousness, you grab onto it even if you don't like it. And if something's not good in Krishna consciousness, even though I'm so attached to this, you give it up. That's what you have to do. Another way in which Dhruva Maharaj, and I'll relate this, Dhruvita, to Srila Prabhupada, where Dhruva Maharaj actually repented. He was so sorry that he didn't immediately surrender to the instruction of Narada Muni. What was Narada Muni's first instruction to Dhruva? Yeah, go home. You're too young. Take up devotional service later. At this process of austerities of Ashtanga Yoga. And it wasn't just the Ashtanga Yoga. The deity worship is also mentioned along with the chanting of the Lord's holy names. Complete package. And the austerities of, controlling the tongue, controlling the senses. He said, you're too young, go. And he regretted that he didn't follow that instruction, even though he got love of Godhead by being stubborn and saying, no, I can't do that. It's not for me. If you can't help me in fulfilling my desire, namaste. Leave me alone. Just seeing Srila Prabhupada, one time a devotee, a brahmachari, Dravida Prabhu will remember him maybe, Dinanath. Man, was he a famous kirtanier, one of these fired up fireballs. Just, oh my goodness, what kirtans. Man. Oh, God, did he have a taste? And he asked Srila Prabhupada, I'd like to stay firm in my vow of brahmacharya. I'd like to go to Rishikesh because there's ashrams there and you won't be disturbed by women, etc. Sound familiar? And Prabhupada said, he paused, silent for a moment, and then he answered. He said, I wasted 12 years of my life staying in Vrindavan. I didn't immediately go to the West and preach like my spiritual master instructed me. And Prabhupada said that more than one time. I'm so fallen. My spiritual master gave me the instruction when I was a young man to preach in English. And I waited till I was an old man. And he regretted that. Same as Dhruva Maharaj, just feeling that regret. I didn't surrender to my spiritual master immediately. So this is the mood of a real devotee, a real disciple. Once they have caught the essence of and have surrendered with their heart, sat sankopena, that full, that desire I want to become a devotee. I want to surrender. I want to become humble. I want to become a servant of not just my guru or, Krishna, but my Prabhus. We have to fan this desire. And it's not that it comes immediately for most of us, like Dravida Prabhu referred. Those who get on the path and start out on the long, distance race, just like full, stride, they've been doing this in previous lives. But many of us, it's not like that. It's a gradual process. And we have, if we're honest, we have material desires. But that does not, this is such an important purport to anyabhilashita shunyam. That does not disqualify you from being able to perform pure devotional service. And this is the lesson given by Dhruva Maharaj. He performed pure devotional service despite having this materially, absurd and impossible desire, material desire. He backshelved it. He didn't act on it. He followed the instructions of his spiritual master, and it's devotional service, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, that cleanses the heart. So that's part of the purport that's given to Rupa Goswami's shloka, that material desires may be there. How can they not be there? We've been in this material world since time immemorial. Bhogaishvara prasaktanam. How can we not have some attachment? Material sense gratification. We dovetail it in the beginning stages. We lead us to the prashadam. Tongue's the most difficult and voracious to control, but we're taking prashadam. Fast, oh my God, so difficult. Impossible, the standard of austerities Dhruva Maharaj performed. Even performing Ashtanga Yoga, what a joke in this day and age. Or for that matter, yagyas and deity worship, compared to when they were the prime emphasis on how to reawaken one's love for Krishna. It's just childish play on our part in what we can offer to the Lord. Here's the big clincher, however. Lord Chaitanya's mercy is easily available, easily accessible, because we're in Kali Yuga, and Lord Chaitanya and the Panchatattva have descended to give us the highest. And knowing our qualifications, which are disqualifications. The lowest get the mercy first. If you see some Prabhupada disciple being proud, you just, wait a second. The most fallen get the mercy first. So Srila Prabhupada would often say, even though we have so much disqualification, or when he prayed to Rukmini Dwarkadish on their installation, we're so rotten and we're so fallen, and I have nothing to offer you, but please accept whatever I can do. Please accept our service. Or in Melbourne, when he installed Radha, who are the presiding deities? Radha, I forget their names in Melbourne. But he prayed to the Lord, Radha and Krishna, my dear Lord, I'm leaving you in the hands of these malechas. They're untrained, and I just simply ask that you will guide them and reveal within them how they can please you. And that's the secret. It's like if you surrender and are wanting to please Krishna, then the impossible becomes possible. The old school mentality of the earliest disciples of Srila Prabhupada was you daily expected miracles. Daily. Because Krishna is in control of everything. And when you have complete faith, if Dhruva Maharaj in his 6th month, I couldn't help but going down the line. Every 3 days means the first month, 10 times he ate some fruit, which Prabhupada in the purport said was fruits that only monkeys will eat because it must taste horrible. Fruits and berries. The next month, what was it? Dry leaves off the tree. and water, and he did that every 6 days, so 5 times he ate those dry leaves. And can you imagine if Janardhan Prabhu had made dry leaves yesterday? Skadashi Prabhu, let's have some austerities. Can you imagine? No, he can't do it. But he did it 5 times he ate dry. Yeah, I guess so. The best seasoning, strong hunger. Yeah, and then what was next? And then breathing every 9 days. So how many times in a month? That's like 2.5 times he. Now, I may not be getting it exactly right, chronologically speaking, but by the 6th month, he'd basically stopped all holes in the body, and in essence, being a small unit of the Supreme, blocked all the holes, the breathing of the entire universe, all living entities within it. Impossible. A fable. How can you believe that? Impossible. But no, science and people, they understand microcosm and macrocosm. It's all intimately related. So when you are under the shelter of Krishna through your full surrender to Guru and Krishna, Guru and Gauranga, then nothing is impossible. Because as we heard this verse, Krishna, it's a different definition this time, Sat Sankalpena. We were glorifying Krishna when Dharmaseta Prabhu gave class, Satya Sankalpa, one whose desire is always fulfilled, one whose, desire is true, fully manifest. Little slightly different. But when one is desiring to serve the Lord for his pure devotee gives all facility. There's no obstacle to serving Krishna when you have captured him by his love. I mean, that's, one of the qualities of Krishna in the 64 qualities, that he's captured by his devotees' love. Or he's compassionate, another quality. In the Nectar of Devotion, it's the example is given that when he was at the bed of Bhishma, he was just crying. Krishna was crying tears of compassion, seeing his devotee lie there. And Prabhupada immediately leads the purport into discussion of, and the devotees take shelter of the compassionate nature of the Lord. And what is that compassion? It's really more specifically stated. Who is that compassion? It's Srimati Radharani. Radha Krishna. Hare Krishna. The Lord. When Dhruva Maharaj had his darshan, when he was given instructions by Narada Muni on how to meditate upon the Lord, what to speak of when he did have darshan of the Lord appears never to be displeased to his devotees. He's always prepared to award benediction to them. He's always prepared to give shelter to the surrendered soul. And he's always worthy to be master of the surrendered soul. Why? Because he's an ocean of mercy. There is no better master. And those who represent Krishna, they are the perfect masters. They don't cheat us. They don't misguide us. They don't pretend. They simply are transparent mediums in devotional service to Krishna. So that's what we want. And to be able to do that, 3 of my most important favorite verses, right in, because Bhogaishvarya Prasaktanam is quoted, one who is in the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment, material opulence, and who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. Now in this verse and in the previous verse saying how one can become resolute, the word vyavasyatmika buddh here is used. And the second verse, I don't know if it's a base or a root of the same word, vyavasitam, but determination is given as a synonym. So at least I can with confidence say in the English, they're synonymous. It's so important to have this determination. Like sometimes Srila Prabhupada would say, I've given you instructions, and if you don't follow, what can I do? Because the Guru tells us what to do and he shows us how to do it. But we have to do it. If we don't grab onto the rope that he's lowering down to pull us out of this dark well of material existence, what can he do? It's up to us. We have to do it. Like Nike says, just do it. This determination in the heart, we have to do it. Now, in the beginning, our intentions have to be good. And the Lord, Maitreya, in his verse said, who had good intentions in his heart. The good intentions were that he wanted to serve Guru, to have darshan of Krishna. He wanted to please Krishna, Vishnu, the Lord. That was his good intention. As soon as I read that, I'll date myself, and some of you have maybe never heard of this song, but it's a very touching song. I think of two things when I heard good intention in his heart. There's this one song, let's see. I'm just a soul whose intentions are good. Oh Lord, please don't let me be misunderstood. There's this one person, I won't get you into the Maya, it's one of my memories, but it's been dovetailed, that sings it so feelingly. And the second thought that I have is I have a godbrother who left his body. He wasn't with other devotees, and he was out in a natural setting, in a rural setting, in another devotee's yard doing some yard work, and he had sat down leaning against the base of a big shady tree. It was a warm day, sunny day, and he left this world sitting like that. When they found him, he was sitting up, cross-legged, and in his pocket they found a note that was a prayer to Sri Sri Gaurnitai. And he prayed, my dear lords, please accept my intentions, judge me by my intentions and not my behavior. So intention is so important. Desire is so important because it's you could say it almost seems contradictory. On the one hand, you can say it's the desire. It is the mood. It is the intention that is important. And the service may be full of faults, but the Lord will see the intention. And simultaneously, earlier we said, the Lord didn't see the faults of the lack of good intention, the material desire. He didn't look at that. He looked at the service and appreciated the service. So in whatever way we benefit, Krishna is going to reciprocate. Because his whole mood is Bhadram Te, all blessings to you and me. That's what he's here for. He simply wants to make us happy. We can only be happy in service to him. And that's what he's trying to reawaken us to. Take up the service. Fortify the desire that's within your heart. And you can't do that without the association. Dravida Prabhu quoted the first very significant prayer by Dhruva when seeing the Lord. Please give me the association of devotees. And that purport, I read it. I didn't remember at the time. It's just like, if one thinks that he can perform devotional service outside of the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, he's an illusion. It's an hallucination. Now, that's a very big, I wish I could have heard the Prabhu that spoke on that because it's such a big topic. But anyway, the Hare Krishna movement, ISKCON is supposed to be synonymous with the Hare Krishna movement and with Lord Chaitanya's movement. It's about the purity of service to Krishna and Vaishnavas and Guru. And one of the instructions that Narada Muni gave discussing this purity is, first of all, he said, you're young. Insults come and go. What do you care? So your mother-in-law, a stepmother chastise you. You should be tolerant. It's just the result of your past karma. Learn how to be neutral to insult and praise. Learn how to take the good and the bad equally. Just tolerate. Because as Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, the concept of good and evil in this world is nothing but mental speculation. It's all bad. This world, it's just bad. And one time, this memory came to mind when I remembered that instruction of Srila Prabhupada. I went to visit a friend up in Northern California, and she had cancer, and she was wearing a scarf to cover it, but she had this huge tumor on her neck that was very soon to take the body, force the life out of her body. And so went up there and had kirtan and wonderful exchanges, and I shared from the heart. Some of my best chanting has been when in the presence of those that are very soon to leave this world. The mercy of the name can descend in ecstatic kirtan, very sincere kirtan. And afterwards I quoted that instruction that Srila Prabhupada said, this is a direct quote, that every member of ISKCON should realize that there is nothing good in this world, that it's all bad. It's all bad. And one of my god sisters who happened to be there, senior to me, you know, she had difficulty with that. And she tried, I think there's no. Dravida Prabhu said, you know, he hit the bottom and realized I had to surrender. Basically, distress is a big motivation for many of us to come to Krishna consciousness. And for those to fully surrender to Krishna, you have to hit bottom. You have to run into the wall and realize there's no other way. I have to surrender. And Dhruva Maharaj, you know, he fully surrendered. His wasn't the distress, it was because of artha. He had a huge material desire, one of the 4 motivations for surrendering to Krishna. But we have to understand, give up the illusion that there's any good to be had in sense gratification of this world. And if we do that, and the second instruction that I wanted to bring into Narada Muni saying, so that, be neutral, be equiposed, good, bad, success, failure, praise, insult. He also said, when you meet someone superior to you, how should one feel? One should be very happy. Someone better than me, more qualified than me. When you meet someone who's equal, then develop friendship with them. If you see someone who is less qualified, then be compassionate upon them and help them. As long as we're influenced by the bodily concept to varying degrees, when we meet someone superior to, what does we think? There's a little envy, you know. It's kind of a little prick in the heart, you know. How come he's getting respect? How come, you know. I think most of us can understand or relate. Or you meet somebody who's equal. Well, you try to praise yourself. This is what I'm doing. This is what I've done. Because it lifts you up. Or you try to find fault with them and, you know, we may be peers, but, you know, he, wink, wink, not we know. And if somebody's below us, then of course you just smash them. You victimize them, you exploit them, because they're less. They're not equal, they can't. And so that's the material mentality. There's Bhaktivinoda in one of his songs singing the mentality of a conditioned soul, an envious, bound jiva. He said, when I see others suffering, I take great pleasure. And am sad and unhappy when I see them happy. So Narada Muni was saying, he was giving us an important instruction. This applies to all of us. Our equals, develop the friendship. Cultivate it. It just doesn't happen. It's not like, you know, we're all the same in our modes, but we're the same in our desire. Without your association, where am I headed? How can I make advancement? You know, we should think, we should understand, we should realize that I'm the one benefiting by association. And even if I have some seniority or some understanding that I can share due to experience or what have you, that's good for me. That's expected of me. At the end of the purport, when Prabhupada was elaborating on Narada Muni's instruction, Dhruva, he said, and always one should try and have compassion upon all the conditioned souls. This is the instruction in the mood of Srila Prabhupada. Dhruva Maharaj became the perfect king, the fulfillment of his material desire, prefacing, it was 36,000 years. And Dhruva was thinking, oh my God, I could have gotten liberation. I could have gone back home immediately. I saw the Lord. But I'd come simply wanting to take, nothing to offer. But I was such an idiot. So like a king, like a person approaching the richest man, and you end up asking for, you know, some, it says broken husked rice. Useless. 8th canto says ashes, approaching, and asking for ashes. Useless. So, Dhruva is such a wonderful pastime. There's so much to be understood. It was one of Lord Chaitanya's favorites. He would hear it again and again from Gadadhar Pandit in Jagannath Puri. And, this... I was going to say the 3 verses. The first one is, in this endeavor there's no loss or diminution, and a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous type of fear. That was touched on in either Dravida or Dharma Setu's class. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. And Jamal Prabhu and I were talking about knowledge and renunciation in Krishna consciousness. To what degree it applies, to what degree it can be overemphasized and become unbalanced. If we overemphasize austerity or renunciation or even acquiring knowledge, how that can harden the heart sometimes. Prabhupada gives the clue, though, the highest perfection, this is his purport, of Krishna consciousness is renunciation of the material conception of life. This state is automatically achieved by progressive Krishna consciousness. The more we are becoming attached to serving Krishna, then the more we become detached to the idea, the illusion that we're the enjoyers and controllers. And then the resolute person of a person in Krishna consciousness is based on knowledge. Vasudevam sarvameti samahatma sudurlabha. Krishna is everything. There is no better master to surrender to. And that surrender will be through the medium of the spiritual master. And I wanted to read this last little purport, this paragraph, because it relates with this idea. If you are attached to sense gratification and opulence, you cannot develop love of God. You will not see Krishna. You will not become attached to devotional service. As Srila Prabhupada says, the whole process, however, depends on perfect knowledge of the soul beyond the conception of the body. Not theoretically, but practically. When there is no longer a chance for sense gratification manifested in fruitive activities. One who is not firmly fixed in mind is diverted by various types of fruitive acts or sense gratification. So as long as we've not become liberated in devotional service, these vows, pious vows, these instructions given by the spiritual master, they're so important to embrace. Because they will help us. The spiritual master in his pleasure will give us the realization we're not the body. He's saying that's the key. That's the point where you can then dive into the ocean of devotional service. Not theoretically, but realize, practical knowledge. Dhruva Maharaj had that. That's how he was able, increasingly, he developed it, he realized it through the execution of the spiritual master's instructions. And he got, the fruit of that. Self-realization is the beginning or the path leading to God realization. So, 3 very nice verses. They apply to this particular purport and this lesson in general. And Srila Prabhupada ki. Right. Any questions or comments? Dravida, if you have to go because of your services, I understand. Any questions or comments? Don't be shy. I had that effect on people. I'm sorry. Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Samaveda Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki.